This is your daily weather report for the state of Kentucky. I'm Storm 101. We'll be tracking the possibility for strong thunderstorms to roll through across parts of the state tomorrow. Hazy skies could return for your Sunday, and the pattern continues to look active for next week as we could see more opportunities for strong to severe thunderstorms. So, I'm going to get started by looking at radar for what's been going on so far today on this Friday. We had some scattered showers and thunderstorms across eastern Kentucky. Some areas were able to get a decent amount of rain. Unfortunately, not everybody was able to get the rain, but some people that did was able to get a pretty decent amount. We also had some thunderstorms that developed in western parts of western Kentucky along the boundary. Some of those were on the strong side, including one particular storm that tried to reach to severe limits. There was one severe thunderstorm warning out there, but I haven't heard any reports of damage out there. So, not a whole lot that's been going on out there today, just nuisance type of stuff. Here's a look at satellite imagery where we have this boundary that's kind of set up across west central Kentucky. That's where some of the thunderstorms have been developing, but these have not lasted very long. Wind shear is very weak to non existent, so these thunderstorms will blow up and they'll fall apart on themselves. But any strong severe storm out there has been generally on the brief side. You can see how they refresh to the current look. So your boundary set up right there. There's not much cumulus clouds I can see here on satellite imagery. Of course, we are at sunset, so the instability values are going to back off, and those thunderstorms should begin to calm down over the next couple hours. There's a big storm, a couple of big cells developing in the south central Illinois as of right now. Current temperatures, we are cooling down as we reach sunset. As of right now, most areas are in the low 80s. We got 83 in Lexington, 83 degrees up in Oldham County, toasty 84 degrees over in Ballard County. And we do also have best stations that are in the low to mid 70s. That's where we've seen some showers and thunderstorms that went through earlier in the day. As we talk about for rainfall amounts, you can see here most of us have seen nothing, but areas that have seen rain was able to get a decent amount. Pike County was your winner for today, seeing over just a tad bit over an inch of rain. And in second place goes to McLean County that had about 3/4 of an inch of rain. And there's a couple best stations out there was able to get a few hundreds of an inch, and that's basically nothing. But once again, most of us didn't see any rain, but some people did. And however, tomorrow we're going to change that. Better rain chances do come in tomorrow. Um, but if we look at max high temperature for today, temperatures were pretty warm to hot status, generally in the upper 80s to low 90s for about everybody. Western Kentucky, the warmest spot in the state was Union County with 94 degrees. Mercer County was able to hit 90 degrees. Go up towards Covington, also was able to hit 90 degrees. So, yeah, definitely several areas was able to get right about the 90-degree mark out there. What's been going on or what's currently going on across the country? We got heat issues across parts of the deep south and the summer plains, across most of the west, where you see those orange colors. Those are heat advisories. You even got a little pocket in the southern part of Florida. And where you see these hot pink areas is where we have excessive heat warnings. Heat index values that can exceed 110 or 115 degrees. Some areas may challenge the record high over the next couple of days. We got severe weather issues currently ongoing across parts of northern Illinois into southern Wisconsin. There's another complex of thunderstorms that stretches from parts of northern and northeastern Oklahoma into southwestern Missouri. Those thunderstorms had a history of producing numerous wind gusts of 60 to 80 miles per hour. We also got air quality alerts across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Upper Michigan. That's where you see the areas in gray. You also got some areas in the high plains as well. And then we got some scatter flooding issues for parts of the eastern U.S., even some severe weather in the mix as well. So SPC outlook for the rest of tonight, there's an enhanced risk for parts of Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. It's outdated. I think they're going to update this here in about 10 minutes, and it's going to look completely different but the main threat today has been those damaging straight line winds. Day 2, which is tomorrow, we got a march risk for parts of the Appalachian Mountains, the Ohio Valley, and the parts of the interior Northeast, which this also includes parts of Kentucky in that marginal risk. It includes areas mainly east of Interstate 65, and they got a 5% chance for some wind and hail out there, though confidence for tomorrow is pretty low. Models have been very inconsistent for tomorrow's severe weather potential. Then on day 3, you got a march risk off to our northwest and to our northeast, but doesn't look like nothing would be strong to severe here for your Sunday. And here's a little bit of a closer look. This is for today. Got a march risk for far western Kentucky. Most of your strong thunderstorms have actually been outside that march risk area. It was focused a little bit more farther off to the east. Interestingly enough, even for that severe thunderstorm warning that was out there. And the main threat for any strong thunderstorms tonight would be strong winds and perhaps some small hail. And this is for tomorrow, having a closer look at march risk mainly east of Interstate 65. That includes the tri-state area of Covington, Cincinnati, the Bluegrass region, all of eastern Kentucky, and even parts of south central Kentucky as well. And once again, they got a 5% chance for wind and hail. Although I think the hail risk is not there. I don't see a hail risk. However, there is a very low risk that I could see force of wind. But I think most of the storms tomorrow will be more of a nuisance. Here's rain for the next 7 days. The pattern is still looking to be active, especially for next week. Now, give or take on these rainfall amounts, you've seen how it went today. Most areas saw nothing. Other areas was able to get up to an inch of rain. So, don't take these numbers as saying this is what you're going to get. Uh, some areas may not see a whole lot of rain. Other areas may see quite a bit of rain for the next 7 days, but the weather predictor has most of Kentucky in a 1 to 2 inches of rain swath. In the reds, that's where you could possibly see 2 to 3 inches of rain. You can see it's kind of in pockets. You got a couple hot spots here and there. So, and that's pretty typical for summer. It's very difficult to impossible to predict rainfall amounts with summertime thunderstorms. So let's talk about tomorrow's threat. We're going to start off with the Herbal. You can see some of those thunderstorms that blossom up in west central Kentucky. And the Herbal tries to suggest there could be some thunderstorms trying to develop probably on that same boundary. That boundary will be moving eastward. And that could later form some new thunderstorms. Areas that really haven't seen thunderstorms all day. Central Kentucky was able to stay dry for most of the day. You can see there how some of those how it kind of falls apart to get to the eastern Kentucky by tomorrow morning. And this is 8 a.m. Central Time. And take this as a grain of salt. Her model has been extremely inconsistent. I'll tell you that the last run, which is the 12Z run, show a Mesca convective vortex rolling through Kentucky. It doesn't show that anymore. So it's hard to trust these balls. And they've been performing very poorly these past few weeks. I mean, really, so far this summer, they've been performing like garbage. But you can see here if the Hermal is correct, and that's a big if. It's got some thunderstorms running across western Kentucky, and there might be the possibility for a strong storm being mixed in, though the chances are low. And it's definitely a possibility for most of us in Kentucky, especially central and eastern Kentucky, that we might deal with decent amount of cloud cover through a decent chunk of the day. But if we end up not seeing any morning convection, um, that could help increase the chances for strong severe storms. And you could also see here's your cold front starting to move in from the northwest, and there's a possibility for a couple of strong storms out there. And even the Herbal is trying to suggest some strong thunderstorms trying to pop in western Kentucky, well outside that marginal risk. But once again, it shows up a completely different on the last run, so I would take this as a grain of salt. Some of the thunderstorms could make it into central and eastern Kentucky by the evening hour. So it's a possibility tomorrow some areas making multiple rounds of thunderstorms, but it may be one of those days where not everybody will see rain, but I think a decent chunk of us will see some rain tomorrow, which some of us could use some of that rain. We're still dealing with some drought issues in the western, northern, and far eastern Kentucky. Central Kentucky, we're good on the rain. Uh, as I looked at the latest drought monitor. Let's talk about ingredients, and this is the bulk shear. You can see here, I mean, wind shear is just basically not existent. This is peak time heating for tomorrow, and you can see here wind shear anywhere from about 15 to 25 knots, which is almost like nothing. Very weak wind shear. But we do have some thunderstorms that try to develop along the cold front. There is a little bit better wind shear values, but those are generally isolated. But it still doesn't necessarily mean there won't be strong storms. I think it's a possibility we could see a couple of rogue strong thunderstorms along the cold front. It just depends on how the convection goes um, across Kentucky to the south, and that can really have a big impact on the thunderstorms that try to develop along the cold front. So there's just a high amount of certainty for tomorrow. But as we look at instability, Hermo's not very impressed with instability at all. It's got instability values in western Kentucky anywhere for about 1 to 2,000 joules per kilogram, with some areas trying to push 2,500. Though the HER model has been under estimating instability today, so it's probably going to be a little bit higher than what it shows here. But you can see here across central and eastern Kentucky where these areas could be worked up by showers of thunderstorms, early in the day. Instability values may not even make it to 1,000, which is a possibility. So once again, a lot of uncertainty for tomorrow. But either way, I think it's definitely possible we'll see some strong thunderstorms across the state, and I think it's possible that Western Kentucky may see a little bit of that action as well. But the main threats for tomorrow will be strong gusty winds. I really don't see a hail risk, mainly because the moisture content is going to be quite high in the upper parts of the atmosphere. There's going to be a lot of moisture to work with. Maybe a slightly better hail risk in Western Kentucky. Hail could be as big as pea or dimes. Not big, just a nuisance. Wind wise, strong winds, 40 to 50 miles an hour max. Some thunderstorms may try to push to 55. Uh, no tornado risk, which are way too weak for tornadoes, so we will not have to worry about that. But once again, tomorrow, some of us will get a decent amount of shower thunderstorm activity through parts of the day. I don't think it's going to be a wall to wall rain. Um, but yeah, just stay weather aware just in case if things do change for tomorrow. But I will have an update on that tomorrow morning on my Twitter account, which I have a link in the description down below. As I mentioned early in the video for Sunday, there's a possibility for some haze. Smoke looks to return. This is the near smoke density, a few hours ago on the HER model. Our wildfires are coming from BC. I know, Canada is still on fire. But I do believe they got some rain coming in later in the week, so hopefully that will help. But look at all this smoke here. Where you see those greens, oranges, and reds, that's an indication that there is some smoke. Where you got all this white here, that means there's no smoke out here. So right now, most of your smoke is sticking around in the Dakotas, Montana, into Minnesota. This is going to continue to move southeastward through Saturday. And where you really see those red colors and even at times pink, that's a very high concentration of smoke. Dense smoke, unhealthy for everybody. So that's going to lead to some serious air quality issues. So this is Saturday morning. The smoke is entering Iowa, parts of Wisconsin. Eventually, it's going to get into Illinois and Missouri. And as we wake up by Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon, the smoke arrives into the Ohio Valley, and these numbers are not terribly high, but it could be unhealthy for sensitive groups. So that's something to be um, aware of for your Sunday. I think temperatures with smoke like this, and it could keep our temperatures a little bit on the cooler side. Maybe take off maybe a degree or two for some, but it's still gonna be warm regardless. It's gonna be hard to. It really won't make much of a difference of how it feels like out there. Plus, it'll still be pretty humid out there. All right, so the next topic, what about the pattern next week? Pattern does look a little bit more interesting, but it's been a pattern that we've been dealing with these past couple weeks, the ring of fire pattern. So this is what's going on right now. You got a ridge of high pressure that's bringing in heat across the western U.S. You got this trough here that's digging into parts of the northern plains into the Midwest region. And that's going to continue to stay that way for the next couple of days. You also start to notice that this trough here, this low pressure system, is going to move into the upper Midwest by Sunday. We'll have a cold front that passes through here tomorrow through Kentucky, and that's going to bring in the smoke into our area. You also see here how that ridge of high pressure really starts to amplify over the desert southwest. That's going to make the heat worse up there, unfortunately. Parts of the deep south will actually get a break from the heat this weekend, which is good news, but unfortunately that's going to be short-lived because you will see here what happens here. So we go into early next week. This is Tuesday. You got this ridge of high pressure starting to move to the east. That will give parts of the western U.S. a little bit of a break from the intense heat, but that intense heat is going to start to return to the parts of the deep south during that time. At the same time, you got this northwest flow aloft that's going from the central plains into parts of the Midwest, and that goes into parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. And this could be a start of another active round of showers and thunderstorms. Some of these thunderstorms can be strong to severe. It's a variable pattern for more of these big thunderstorm clusters. Kind of like what Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma is seeing um, right now. And you can see here, this is going into your Thursday here, and you see these shortwave troughs here, going down along this northwest flow, and that's going to help trigger these thunderstorm clusters. And I bet the best opportunity for us here at Kentucky to see these thunderstorm clusters is probably Wednesday and Thursday, and I think we may have some severe weather potential to Friday, as we'll start to see a little cold front move into our region sometime around Friday. Now, the exact timing can change since we are still a week out. But models have been pretty consistent with this. There's a lot of consistency with it. You can all see this ridge here really starting to amplify in the western U.S., which is unfortunately it's going to bring more heat to a lot of those areas out there. And there's Friday here. You can see this trough starts to deepen here in the eastern U.S. And this also means that temperature's going to go below normal here in Kentucky, which is something we've really been seeing so far this summer. We've literally been staying away from the heat, except for Western Kentucky, unfortunately. But for most of the state, it's been relatively cool uh, so far this summer. And you can see here the GFS wants to keep the trough there for a couple of days. So you see this ridge here really starts to amplify. This will also kill that northwest flow pattern, that active thunderstorm cluster pattern. So that may give us a little break from the severe weather side. And you also can see it shows a big trough moving into BC and Alberta. Hopefully that comes true because they could really use the rain up there. This is what would look like a reflectivity. Now, don't take as each cluster of thunderstorm saying, okay, this is the exact time this thunderstorm cluster is going to get to my house. Don't take it that way. The thing about with medium range guidance models, it has very low accuracy. About 95% of the time, it is wrong on these setups here when it comes to reflectivity. Models handle these like garbage. You probably heard that before several times this summer. But let's kind of go through this here. So you can see here comes our little system coming through here, bringing showers of thunderstorms through Kentucky tomorrow. We clear things up for your Sunday. There might be an isolated shower thunderstorm left over in the eastern part of Kentucky. It could also be some fog as well. And here comes a little secondary cold front that moves in here for your Monday. That could bring slightly higher rain chances for your Monday. For right now, I don't see anything strong to severe, though I'll probably look a little bit deeper into that perhaps tomorrow. So that cold front comes through, but that front is just off to the south, but eventually it's going to lift back to northeast as a warm front. And this is going to be the beginning of your active pattern here that's going to return. So we get a short window where we may not see precipitation. Monday night into maybe a decent chunk of Tuesday. We'll try to keep Tuesday mostly dry, but the GFS says there may be some showers of thunderstorms rolling here. See if it tries to show a thunderstorm cluster up in the parts of Illinois and Indiana that could try to move into parts of our state Tuesday night. But once again, take that as a grain of salt. And you can see how we may see the possibility for multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms. Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will probably be our last day for those showers and thunderstorm chances before things do begin to cool down. Let's check out the GFS ensembles. This is the SerpStat composite parameter mean. So this is just a mean. If you got higher numbers, that's an indication for a better agreement. So this is for your Sunday. You can see here no severe weather chances here in Kentucky, although it does have some elevated severe weather probabilities for parts of Illinois into northern Indiana. This is when you move to a Monday. Okay, that's when that little secondary cold front comes in here. It's got some low numbers out there, 1 to the 2. It's not really big numbers. But then you look up towards Kansas and Nebraska. There's some high numbers out there, up as high as an 8 for a superset composite parameter. That's pretty elevated out there. But it's also a sign that the pattern is going to become to get more active. This is Tuesday. It's got the higher severe weather probabilities mainly off to our west, but it's got some elevated probabilities even sneaking into western Kentucky, getting as high as a 3 or perhaps a 4 out there. And then the GFS almost suggests that our best chance for severe weather may show up sometime around Wednesday. And you can see there, you see those orange colors up as high as a 5 or a 6 for parts of Kentucky. And then there's once again elevated severe weather probabilities for Thursday, getting up as high as a 3. And then you get that cold front that passes through on Friday, and there's a lot more uncertainty in terms of Friday. But if we look into individual members, let's go to the one that everybody's probably interested in, and that'll be Wednesday. If we go to Ensemble SCP, you notice that they all do look a little bit similar, but they vary a little bit on the exact placement and perhaps the timing as well. You can see here you got some models that show not much of anything here in Kentucky, like member 18, and then you look at members like 1, 3, or 4, or 5. You got some high numbers out there on the table. It's getting up as high as 15 to 20. That's an indication for a high combination of instability and wind shear, especially in the lower levels. So it's definitely a time period where we gotta watch this. Now, this is probably without shower and thunderstorm activity. That's what it could look like. I think there's a good chance we'll see some shower and thunderstorm activity. So some of these numbers here are probably a little bit too high for my taste, but we'll see how this goes here. But regardless, we're going to have to be weather aware mid to late next week, as we'll likely see some more strong severe storm chances return to the forecast. Of course, we'll have more updates on that over the next couple days. Not only the severe weather chances return, but also the heat will stick around here, but it's a possibility for a day or two where we may see some high heat index values. So this is the Canadian model. You can see here these are the heat index values for today. Not a bad job overall from the Canadian model for today. And you can see here then we're cooler for your Saturday, where that little cold front passes through. We're dealing with a cooler. We also have some showers and thunderstorms, so heat index values are not going to be high tomorrow. Then here's for your Sunday here, and heat index values for your Sunday, it's not going to be nearly as bad as today. Generally in the low to mid 80s, possibly getting the low 90s in the western Kentucky. Then here's Monday here. Now the Canadian ball is showing some shower thunderstorm activity, but areas that do not see shower thunderstorm activity, heat index values make it close to the mid 90s, which shows that in the western Kentucky. And here you go for your Tuesday, and boy, those heat index values really start to rise off to our southwest. Look at those heat index values in the eastern Arkansas. 110 plus. It's even got 118 heat index value out there. So things do get hot, but you do notice across a decent chunk of state we're on the cooler side. But that's a possibility for some ongoing shower and thunderstorm activity that could keep our heat index values lower. Areas that don't see it could be in the 90s or possibly in the low hundreds for your Tuesday. And then, bam, look at that for Wednesday. And that's if we don't see any showers of thunderstorms. If we don't, heat index values could be in the triple digits for a lot of us. Being on Western Kentucky, may get close to 110. So it's definitely a possibility that Wednesday could be a pretty hot day for a good chunk of us. And then here's your Thursday. It actually shows what looks to be a cluster of thunderstorms running for Kentucky during that day. But once again, areas that don't see shower thunderstorm activity, it's going to be hot. And then here's Friday. That's the day we begin to cool down. We're going to approach a cold front from the northwest. Uh, Heat index values will begin to back off, which then will be a start of maybe a round of some below normal temperatures. So that would be some good news. And obviously that could change. That's a week out. It could change, though. We still got to keep a close eye on from Tuesday through Wednesday, Thursday, and probably as late as Friday for the possibility for some strong to severe storms. But anyways, guys, that's all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you really like my channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys got any questions, you can put a comment section down below. I'll answer you guys questions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye and have a good day.